All right, Hollywood Drag Racing Man Cup Live. We are back. I forgot where I'm at, man. I forgot. Man Cup Live. Y'all excuse me. We back up in the house, man. And look here. I am glad tonight we're going to be coming up on this our month of October, and we're going to be headed to the Schwartz Law Group Full Throttle Fest. Is going to be taking place at the Worldwide Technology Raceway Park in Madison, Illinois. And once again, it is going to be a great event for you all to come out and enjoy us at October the 20th and the 21st. Don't forget, we're going to have a test and tune session out on Friday. Y'all can come on out. It's going to be a long test and tune session, so you need to come get you some of that. It's your first time coming out. You want to hang out, get to see some racing, get to participate, get to meet some of the people from your area and stuff out that who like motorcycles and so forth. This is the place you want to be. I'm trying to tell you, you got to make it on out here to the Schwartz Law Group Full Throttle Fest, October 20th, 21st, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Madison, Illinois. And once again, back to these sponsors, I want to tell y'all again, as usual, thank you. We will not be able to do it without you guys. We appreciate the opportunity that you're giving us to use your hard-earned dollars to promote what we're trying to do and to further promote this sport that we also love so much. Pinky, what's going on, man? What are you up to over there, man?
Man, on the night, you got one of the
Oh,
sponsors on the night.
yes, yes, yes. Mr. Schwartz stepped up this today right here.
Yeah,
He said he gonna sponsor the event in his hometown. How about that?
that's that's what I'm talking about, man. Shit, let's get him on, man. You let him talk. He ready to talk.
Well, look here, man. We're gonna go let these people pay a few bills. But look here, before I move along, but I'm gonna tell y'all, y'all make sure y'all make it to this event in Madison, Illinois. It's gonna be a good one. And then right after that, we're gonna have the last one gonna be coming up, which is gonna be the Fuel Tech World Finals. Gonna be down in Adel, Georgia, November the 17th through the 19th. Y'all be posted for that too. But look here, we're gonna go pay a few bills, and then we're gonna be right back with our guests. We got a good one tonight. All right, all right. We got our event sponsor in the house, Mr. Ken Schwartz himself, Schwartz Law Group, the Full Throttle Fest. What's going on, Ken? How you doing tonight?
We're doing great, Hollywood. I appreciate you having me on. It's good to be here with you and the famous and legendary Pinky Bowers.
My man, my man.
Man, you finna start this show off all road, boy. You know what I'm saying? Legendary Pinky Bowers. How you know about how you know about the
Man,
legendary
he
boy?
been supporting me for a long time, boss. He been coming to my race. You know it.
We've been coming down there to Nashville for a long time. I've been racing these
Sure have.
ridiculous motorcycles for 30 years.
Yep.
30
Yep.
years, man. Hey, man, look like you just left the boardroom somewhere, man. Look here. A lot of people don't
Yep.
know. You can introduce yourself and a little bit about, about what you're doing, and so forth. Let everybody see you at the racetrack, but this is the real deal right here. Let's talk
That's
about it.
true. People see me like this and they don't even recognize me, right? So you said the boardroom. It was actually the courtroom, right? Which is
Right.
where I spend the majority of my time for the last
Right.
28 years. That's what I do up here. I was actually in federal court, which is a
That's
tough
right.
place to be, but we do what we got to
Yeah.
do. So,
Yeah.
no, I'm thrilled to get home and get online with you guys. Yeah, and we can talk about
Well,
this race, which I think is going to be fantastic.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, this getting up in this area is pretty tough. I mean, a lot of racetracks are, a lot of people think that getting good tracks is easy, but it's kind of hard to get at a good facility. And it seems that St. Louis has. Now, I've raced there at the NHGRO before, but getting it for the Man Cup, this will be something new. I'm excited about it. I mean, you stepped up. You participated as the event sponsor. What made you do it?
Worldwide Technology is a great racetrack. It used to be called Gateway. We've been racing here at this track. I mean, this track in particular has been here longer than I've been around, I'd say. But it was rebuilt and named Gateway, I want to say, in, oh boy, somebody's going to correct me here maybe, but the mid to late 90s. And that's when they built the track the way it is now with the oval track. And it's a fantastic facility. A lot of people don't realize it. I mean, the pits here to start with are paved. They're wonderful. They're smooth. The return road is wide. I mean, there's all kinds of room. It's also smooth. And then, of course, the surface, right? The surface is top notch. This track, when it's prepared, hooks like no other track. The shutdown is great. It's long. I mean, I know a lot of guys that have run down this track and gone pretty fast, right? Definitely in the mid twos. And there's plenty of room to shut down in this track. You don't have to get crazy on the bikes. Pinky, I love coming to your race, but man, you gotta get on the brakes and sit up like a sail when you hit the finish line in Music City.
Yep.
But
you do.
I mean, Gateway is great. Walls all the way down the track. Ever since that tragedy with Kevin Williams up there in Muncie, I vowed not to race guardrail tracks anymore. That was just a shame that could have been avoided. And so, no, it's a top-notch facility. I mean, it's great. Everything works well. And, of course, it's just across the river from downtown St. Louis. Yes, it's in Illinois, right across the river in terms of places to visit. You know, if you got family that wants to come up here to the race, but maybe they want to go do some stuff, they can run across the river and go to all sorts of different venues in St. Louis, the zoo in St. Louis, if you're going to bring the little kids, art museums, that sort of thing, if you're into that. I mean, we have a bunch of great stuff here in St. Louis. And it's, if you want to go run around restaurants, we got top-notch restaurants. I mean, it's a great place not only to come drag race, but it's a great place to come visit. So if folks are out there and they're thinking about coming and racing, come on and race. You know, I was telling you before we went live that I hear from some of these guys, these Florida guys and some of these South Georgia guys, that coming up here is too far. You know, you get all the keyboard warriors out there talking about, oh, that's too far this and that's too far that. And I remind them that for years, we were packing these trailers and going to Gainesville. We're packing these trailers and going to Valdosta, Virginia, Carolinas. I mean, you know, those are long races. But if you're dedicated to this sport, you come and you race. And, you know, St. Louis is worth the drive. It's not crazy far. We're 4 hours, 3.5 hours west of Indy. We're about 4.5, 5 hours north of Memphis. It's an easy drive. It's all interstate, and it's worth the ride. So I look forward to it. I think we're having a great time here. I hope we have a lot of people that show up. If you don't show up because you think it's too far, we're going to talk about you.
Hey, that's what you said directly. So you handle that part easily. That's what I mean. But you know, St. Louis, it's not as far as some of the tracks I've been throughout. You know, this season. I mean, me and Pinky done put some miles on this road, and I think for me, it's gonna probably be close to like 8.5, maybe 9 hours or something like that. I mean, but you know, like you said, these days that's just kind of, if you in this game, that's just kind of par for the course. You know, you just 4 hour trip these days is like, you know, you don't even get warmed up good.
That ain't
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
And 8, 9 hours is nothing. You know, I mean, some of these guys will run into some issues with the Friday platform. I think some of these guys would like to see the race, maybe a Friday test and tune and a Saturday qualifying, Sunday eliminations. But, you know, it's still all very doable. And the way you've got this thing scheduled with the built-in rain delay makes a lot of sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But we just, it's all about trial and error. I mean, I think that one of the things that I realized, when I race, and when we would haul to events that were like Saturday, Sundays, was just that. I mean, I pretty much had to cancel the Monday out. It was, I mean, it's just too hard of a haul, leaving an event, Sunday night with a 12-hour, pull in front of you, and you leaving at 8 o'clock. You guaranteed to be there at noon at that point. You know what I mean? I just felt like if we could get an event in a day, and or a whole day and all night, and then people have an opportunity to wake up on Sunday morning. Then they can take the Sunday to do, like you said, a lot easier drive. But it's trial and error. And I think that we for the smaller event venues, opportunity is work. Smaller events that we've had bike counts and it's work. But obviously, when we go to the World Finals, we'll be back to the full amount of days because the amount of volume, and it just like you said, it makes more sense to spread it out at that point. Uh, but we're gonna go pay a few bills. I'm gonna come back because I got a few questions I want to ask you. I done got me all off track, but I'm good. But we're gonna come pay a few bills. Let shoot to some of our sponsors right here, and we'll be right back. Got some more questions from Mr. Schwartz himself, Schwartz Law Group, sponsor of the Full Throttle Fest coming up. Like I said, October the 20th and 21st, Madison, Illinois, is a worldwide technology. We'll be right back, y'all. All right. We back again, man. Cup Live. We got Ken Schwartz in the house. My man Pinky Bowers, big boss legend from Nashville. Ken said that himself. So he gonna say he was voted in as a legend now.
That's right.
True to
That's
the
right.
fact, he was voted in legend. Right?
That's right.
Right? Okay, so I got that part. But look here, Ken. I mean, being that you in the courtroom and all the time, and then you have your passion. I guess this is one of your passions of racing. How do you balance all the things that you find that are that you're passionate about? Because I mean, when you go to drag racing, it's kind of like you kind of a lone ranger a little bit when it comes to that, ain't it?
Kind of a long what? Long ride?
Lone Ranger when you're going to go to drag racing. You don't going to get too many people want to go for the ride when you go drag racing.
Well, it's I used to have a regular sort of helper that would come with me, but he sort of retired. So now, to be honest with you, I rely on a lot of people, but mainly, the Wagners, Mike and Lisa and Heather and Rachel
Yeah.
Wagner, who, you've seen at these
Yeah.
events, and they help me out tremendously. They're great help. They've always got cold beer, so we always have a
Yeah.
good time. Mike and I
Yeah.
have been running around dragging trailers around this country for uh, probably 25 plus years. So, we've got each other. We help each other out, and knock on wood, I can usually make everything work. Back in the day, if a motor went south, I'd swap it. Nowadays, I do have a spare engine, but nowadays, if I get an engine to go south, I'm probably just going to drink a beer and pack it up.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's got to be fun, right? I want to have fun doing it. And Pinky and I, before we came on, we were talking about retiring and when might we do that. And I'll do that when it's not fun anymore. And I turned 57 this week. It's still fun. So I'm not planning on quitting. As long as I can throw my leg over these things, I'll keep doing it. Yeah.
And what drives you then? What drives you to continue to throw your leg over it though? Other than it being fun,
I
because
often,
fun is one aspect of it, but then there's that competitive part as well. So what's your thing?
I don't know. I oftentimes compare it to a junkie, right? I just can't give it up. And I've
Yeah.
I've been in some. I had a bad crash back in 2018, and I even said then I was going to quit. Then I realized that was under the fog of the painkillers. But I don't know. It's difficult to explain, but there's just nothing more fun than drag racing motorcycles. The acceleration, it's
That's
just
right.
a blast, right? I'm a
Right,
lawyer, right? There's no other lawyers around here that drag race bikes. Your typical lawyer, right?
right.
Plays golf, you know, And I mean, my wife would tell you, I'm not your typical lawyer. I'm not your typical, you know, uh, person, in this kind of profession. I don't play golf. It just happens way too slowly for me. I've always just been
Right.
a kind of a type A horsepower junkie, and I love it.
Right.
Pinky and I were talking about street rods and building cars. I like that too. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What drives you to do it? There's nothing more fun than hopping on a motorcycle and going down the track as quick and as fast as we do. It's just a
That's right.
blast. And I don't care if I win every week, as long as I'm keeping the bike up on two wheels. I'm having fun. I win a round or two, of course, that's more fun. But I'm having fun. It probably keeps me alive. If I quit,
That's
I
right.
Right.
probably, yeah, it probably keeps me alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
when
know.
did
It's
you
a
get
great.
turned out? When did you get turned out? Like Pinky say, when you get turned out on the motorcycle drag racing?
So I bought an '86 GPZ 550, brand new. And we used to street race it down here in St. Louis with guys. And then I can remember a couple guys, this is the cops started cracking down kind of hard. And a couple guys said, we can go over to Gateway and race. So I went over there with a couple of guys, and that was it, right? I saw that would have been 1987, and I saw pretty quick bikes. In '87, what did we have then? Those Pro Comp bikes, right, Pinky?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's
those
it.
bikes those guys were running. What were they running? Low eights back then, high sevens,
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah,
Easy that. Easy that. Easy that.
and that
Ricky,
was how
Ricky
Shine.
Shine, they was
Showers and
running
all those
sevens.
guys. Yeah.
Shine
Right, and
was running
Shine
in
would
the
come up here a
sevens.
lot.
Yeah.
Shine would
Shine
come up
running in
here
the
from
sevens.
practice a
Yeah.
lot. And Brian
Uh
Bennett
huh.
back then,
That's
he was
right.
running
That's
those
right.
things and funny bikes, and I had my little 1260 Kawasaki, 12.60 seconds, I should say, the GPZ, and I had a blast. And then, of course, start making a little money, and next thing you know, you got to go quicker, you got to go faster, and that's what did it. But and I'll be honest with you, there's a little bit of selfishness to it too, because I've built friendships and relationships from drag racing over the last 30 years, and they help me not only with great friends but business. I mean, my business is
That's
all
right.
about relationships, and I've represented thousands of people over the years who either I know from drag racing or they were given my name from somebody
Somebody
from
else know.
drag racing. I get phone calls. I get phone calls
That's
every
right.
day. They say, "Hey,
Mhm.
so and so sent you or sent me," and these are people from the track. So I mean, it would even be bad business for me to quit this. The relationships I've built, whether it's handling auto accidents, personal injury cases, criminal
Mhm.
cases. The majority of my practice is criminal and personal injury, auto accidents, slip and fall, these sorts of things. And I tell people this all the time. I can probably trace 75 to 80% of my business to my people, my connections, my relationships in the drag racing community.
Mhm.
It's true. And I mean, because they're great people. You guys have been drag racers forever. The people that we
That's
race
right.
with are solid as a rock, folks, that'll give you, I say, the shirt off their back, but they'll give you the spare motor in their trailer, right? They'll give you the clutch plates that you need. I mean, we help folks, and you just build
Right.
relationships. So the relationships I build, including with gentlemen like you, these are invaluable, and they're just as much fun as going down the track. They really are. Yeah.
That's right. And so which bug came first, the racing bug or the legal bug?
Oh, definitely the racing bug. So I started racing in 1987. I hadn't gone to law school. I didn't go to law school until
Yeah, I was
1992.
17 years old. Yeah, you
Yeah, I don't need to
17,
hear
80,
that.
something
So
like
I'll
that.
remind Pinky that he's older than all
Yeah.
of us.
Big OG man, he got stripes, man. He got
Yeah.
you can go anywhere now. That's my OG. But
So
look here,
tell me what
so
about getting turn back to lawyer again when he went to school. He started going to what year? 92?
yeah,
January.
go ahead and finish. Yeah. What school did you in?
Who?
You also in the military as well, correct?
So I went to auto mechanic school out of high school. I had no to go to college. Went to auto mechanic school, and then a friend of mine, a woman I was dating at the time, who broke up with me later, but I'll give her credit. She's the one that talked me into going to college. Then I went to college, and I joined the Army when I was in college through the ROTC at University of Missouri. And then I was in the Guard. I was in the Missouri National Guard, working, doing my thing. This was before law school. I didn't even have a plan. And I I got called up for Desert Storm. My National Guard unit got called up for Desert Storm. So that would have been 91. And then after that is about when I decided to go to law school. So I went to law school up in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, a place called Thomas Cooley Law School. And they did me right. They taught me the law. They taught me how to practice law. But what's really important also in being an attorney and working with people is just knowing people and being able to communicate with people, right? So, you get these you get these professionals who went high school, college, law school. They don't know anything about the real world. But I've worked in trenches, literally. I've worked all kinds of stupid jobs, which I won't even bore you with. And you learn relationships, right? So, I mean, I'm kind of proud of the fact that I can just about get along with everybody, except for this dude, this complete stranger that walked up to me in the grocery store yesterday. I've never seen him in my life, and he walked up to me and went like that. And I said, "What? Do I know you? Who are you?" He said, "Leave me alone." I'm like, "Dude, I don't even know you, so you can just get away from me." But I get along with folks, right? I get along. Yeah, that was
crazy.
great.
Hey man, that probably had me checking out the store without the groceries right there. I ain't gonna even tell you no lie. But
I kept my eye
I
on him.
think that's pretty cool. That I mentioned that you were talking about like you in law there. You do a lot of the criminal cases and so forth. And you probably run into a lot of the young men that get trouble with racing. I don't know if you get that type of stuff, or if that's not really what you practice yourself. But but then now you have an event up there where we can start getting some of the guys that like to race, their motorcycles on the street and so forth. Now we can give them opportunity to come out on Friday and play with their toys, without having problems with, the police officers and so forth. That's the whole idea, of it, and a big part of it is trying to get people off the street racing and get them to safe environments. And you mentioned something about safety equipment, but we're going to pay a few bills. And when I come back, I want you to impress me about this things that you're concerned about with safety equipment. How about that?
Sounds good.
We're back again, Man Cup Live. We got my man Ken Schwartz of Schwartz Law Group, of Full Throttle Fest event sponsor. We got Big Boss in the house, Pinky. Ken, we're gonna come back to you. We left off in a little conversation. We started talking about, having people come out in a safe environment for the racetrack instead of playing on the streets. We give them an opportunity to come out here and do it for a little bit of nothing, and compare it to what it would be if they got caught out there on the street racing. And I was segueing you to a little bit more about you talking to me about you texting about the safety aspect of things, and I want you to go ahead and expound on that while you got the mic.
And before I talk about the safety gear and the safety equipment, I will say that Worldwide Technology has done great with trying to get kids, street racers, off the street. They've got a program they run here called Friday, what do they call a Midnight Madness, which they'll do every now and then. It's on the schedule, where they'll run from, I don't know, like 10 in the evening all night long to get these youngsters off the street and come and run with your brung and, have a good time and don't have to worry about going to jail. So Worldwide does a good job of that. I'd love to see, hopefully maybe we can get some of those racers to show up with their bikes, a lot of street bikes, and a lot of kids who would otherwise just be out there street racing. In terms of safety equipment, you and I did speak a little bit earlier today about that. And most of us probably saw that crash up here at Worldwide Technology with Angie Smith this weekend, right? Where her bike it looked like the front end washed out and she crashed on the big end at speed. Looked like she crashed right after the finish line. And I always, whenever we see people crash, have big end crashes, and that sometimes this discussion comes up about safety gear. And I texted a few guys after this. Now I don't have any idea what level of safety gear Angie Smith was racing, and I'm not commenting on that. But these Simpson boots, right? These Simpson racing boots that we see, these boots offer very little protection, and I think we need to see guys wearing proper boots, right? That actually offer foot and ankle support. Every one of us here knows some people that have gotten feet hurt pretty badly when they're not wearing proper gear. And then another thing, I've talked to some of our Pro Street colleagues before, and my guess would be some of these Pro Stock people do it. They'll buy these leathers, whether they're Vanson or some other brand, and they look like a leather glove. They look like this nice, soft, comfortable, soft leather, and that's because that's what it is. They're buying the thinnest leathers they can from these manufacturers for weight, right? They want to be light. I'm gonna bring up a name, Brett Ware. Brett Ware, a great Pro Street racer. He was up at XDA this past weekend and had an unfortunate incident. He was wearing some quality leathers. He's got the double leather protection Kevlars, or double leather protection Vansons. And a couple years ago, he flipped a bike in Indy, and he had on he didn't even have on Vansons. He had on some low quality leathers, and they literally split at the seams. He crashed by flipping his bike at the starting line, and the man had like black rubber stuff on the back of his legs, literally from the track where the leather split. We see racers crashing on the big end with these lighter leathers, perfectly legal leathers, and they're getting road rash. There is no reason to get road rash, generally speaking, if you're wearing leathers. I've spoken to the guys up at Vanson before, because I remember the first set of Vansons I bought, and they said, I said, here's what I want, da-da-da. And they said, do you want all the full safety? And I said, what do you mean, do I want all the full safety? I want the leathers, right? Of course, this is what we're talking about. Well, the basic leathers that you can get are lighter, and they don't have sort of like double leather layering in the skid points and things like that. And a lot of these racers buy those, whether they're high quality leathers, but they're the single layer, or the cheapo leathers. And I never understand it. Guys want to skimp on safety gear. I mean, all of us here know better, right? We've been doing this too long. I hate to see these guys, young and old for that matter, skimp on safety gear and get this either cheap leathers or get these super light leathers, which, you might think are great in terms of making weight at the scale or getting that last, 100th or whatever out of it. But I would love to see people recognize how important it is that you wear proper safety gear. Don't skimp on that. You want to skimp on something, I don't know, skimp on your paint job. Although I wouldn't recommend that, because I happen to be a big fan of nice paint jobs. But don't skimp on that safety gear, right? It's like I tell people when they call me about a serious criminal case. They say, hey, I need some help with this serious case. I might say, well, I need whatever, 20 grand. And they say, well, so-and-so said he'd do it for $500 or $5,000. And I say, criminal cases, like drag racing crashes, there's no mulligans. You only get one shot. You don't get to redo it. You don't want to go skimp on that.
That's damn good.
You want to skimp, try to do that drywall work yourself. If it doesn't go well, you can redo it or have a professional redo it. But that doesn't work when you're talking about crashing on the racetrack.
Right. And going to court either.
I'm not going to just talk about myself here, but yeah, I've tried to encourage. I'll get these calls. They'll say, well, this guy said 500. You want $5,000. I said, well, that's right. But some people got to learn the hard way.
It is what it is, man. But, the good thing about it is that, a lot of these racers are, like you say, they need to just take a look at the mirror, look at their equipment, because, you're only as good as the equipment, and only going to get you one chance at it, for sure. Like you say, one chance is not going to be when you anticipate it's going to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called an accident, right? And that was kind of one of the things that, initially just kind of led me to kind of want to push for more safety initially myself, as it ran organization wide. But, it was just it's such a hard push in some areas. But at the end of the day, I think that we all, I had to look at what was available, look at what made sense for motorcycles, and then a lot of these new bikes are coming with all these new anti devices and cut off switches if they tilt and everything. So you got to kind of keep up with that part. But at the end of the day, you're only going to get one chance towards safety. That's the bottom line. I mean, I had to step up some of my gear before. I don't know what kind of boots or whatever that Simpson makes that you were referring to. But like you said, yeah, I think that when you do buy this stuff, you need to be buying it with the mindset of what it's used for, and you maybe need to be asking those questions. And from a legal standpoint, uh, when you look at that type of standpoint, if you're not going to take care of yourself, it's really hardly nothing you can defend, right?
Well, I mean, we do, we can do. But, in terms of the safety gear, you might remember back in the Pro Star days, they would make a rule about gloves. They would make a rule about helmets. And a lot of guys would complain about that, right? They said, they'd have to spend money on that stuff. And in terms of rules with organizations, all I care about is that the motorcycle you're on is safe, and I'd like for it to stay in its own damn lane, right? But if you want to wear crappy gear and you get hurt, it's on you, of course, right? From a tech point of view and a rule point of view, all I'm worried about is the safety of your machine causing harm to others.
Right. Now, as far as your ride, now we done spent our time talking about everything else. Let's talk about what you riding out there right now. What class, what type of bike, what's your power you making and all that stuff. What you got going on right now? What you ride right now? What class?
So I ride what a lot of guys call a dinosaur, right? My bike is a 2000 Koenig Pro Mod chassis with just a small low compression 1327 GS with a carburetor and a turbo. And as most of you know, I've been running that bike in top gas for 23 years. I've done all right with it. It's not the most reliable. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not necessarily the most consistent setup, but it's reliable and it doesn't break. I have a good time, and I got some great help with it. And we do all right. I won a couple rounds down at Pinky's race this season, and no, it's a great time. And but my bike is kind of an old school funny bike setup, just a draw through carburetor on a low compression GS engine, and it works great. A lot of guys have said, "How come you don't build a Pro Mod, a 460?" And I don't want to have stuff breaking all the time. I don't want to work on it. I just want to ride it.
Right. So you running? So you've been running in top gas at least 10 years now with that bike?
23.
23 with the same bike?
Same bike, some changes here and there, but I built that bike in 2000. That bike debuted in 2000 at an IDBA race here in St. Louis. Yeah.
Wow. And that's the only You run more classes though, don't you have? Yeah, you run another class as well though, right?
Not lately. I do have another bike now that I'll probably run, maybe in Super Comp, maybe ET. I've put my top gas bike in ET now and then, but admittedly, I'm not the most competitive ET racer. I don't know how that damn delay box works, and I'm not sure I want to learn.
Yeah, I got that. Well, Ken, like I said, once again, we wanted to get you on, let everyone know who this person behind the sponsorship with the Schwartz Law Group was. This
That's
is the
right.
man that's making it happen for us. We really appreciate you coming on again. And I hope the St. Louis race really turns out, really well. I want to go, it'd be good to get something going up there, an annual deal up there. I like to get it closer to the beginning of October versus the end, though. But, we working baby steps right now, baby steps. Yeah. But at any rate, like I said, once again, we really appreciate your support. It's meant a lot. It allows us to do the kind of marketing that we need to try to do to promote the event. And I'm sure the racers appreciate it, as well, the hospitality you guys are offering coming up that way. And so, so we only got a few more weeks and we'll be in your house October 20th through the 21st. Schwartz Law Group Full Throttle Fest will be in the house. Gateway in Madison, Illinois, Worldwide Technology. You about to get me saying Gateway. They about to take me up out of there. I remember when it was called Gateway, man. That was a pretty cool name back for that racetrack back in the days.
It's Worldwide Technology, but it'll always be Gateway to some of us old guys.
Yep. Well, look
You're
here,
gonna have a
man.
great
I
time up
appreciate.
here.
Well, like I said, I appreciate having y'all on again. And until next time, we'll see y'all next time on Man Cup Live. Ken, we'll talk to you on the next one. We'll see you up at the. I got some gifts for you too when I see you.
All right, great.
All
Great to
right,
see
cool.
everybody.
All right,
Take care. All
we
right.
love y'all. Peace.